What's up, YouTube? I know I've been away from making content, but I just had so much stuff going on. I just moved to a very nice part of Southwest Austin by Oak Hill. So I'm in the middle of a move. That's why I haven't been posting content. But I did want to just hop on here and answer very frequently asked questions that I get all the time. And all the time ongoing too. Like everyone always has these questions. So I thought I would make some content in the middle of the move. As you can see, I've got all this stuff unorganized in this house here. We did just get the Christmas tree though. That's very nice. Sitting on this very nice CB2 couch. Trying to put my furniture up and organize it, make it look more presentable. But you know what? This stuff takes a while. So I still have to post content so that way you guys can still further your career in real estate. Check out my $1,000 air purifier. These things are great, the IQ Air Pros. You guys should get one. It's a godsend, especially for people with allergies. This will like clear out your whole, like up to 2,000 square feet per unit. That's been a godsend. Anyhow, the first one is rental homes. Like, should we do rental houses as apartment locators? And the reason I'm going to say no is, so let me really try to explain this to you guys. I'll share with you a tactic that you guys can use to actually still make money and convert those leads into apartments anyways, okay? I don't like to work rental houses, even though I can, because, apartment locators are licensed real estate agents. So number one, there's just not a lot of money in it. The standard commission for a rental house is 30% of the first month's rent. That's terrible, right? That's probably why realtors overlook apartment locating, because most realtors and most people don't really understand apartment locators. And when you think about it, it makes sense why they don't. There's 1.5 million active realtors as opposed to like 5,000 apartment locators. That's a massive difference. So, you should be really getting excited about that because it tells you that it's just a little known industry, but it's still a very lucrative industry that you can take advantage of and actually earn six figures even without digital marketing systems. The first 2 years, my first 2 years as a locator, I did six figures, like 110, 120K with no systems, like with paper guest cards, right? Now I have systems, I sell a program, I understand digital marketing and I automate things. So of course I can make more, double, triple what I made when I started out. Anyways, though, it's an awesome industry where you can make six figures, but I think that realtors and people think apartment locating isn't really lucrative because they understand that 30% is like the going rate for rental homes, okay? I think that's where it's coming from, right? So I've seen 20% commission for rental homes of the first month's rent, and I've seen up to 50%, right? And every now and then maybe a landlord will pay you 100% on a rental house, but that's not really reliable. Right, so typically it's 30% on average commission. That's just not enough money for me to do any work, okay? Now, the second main reason, other than it's just low pay for rental homes, is that it's much harder for your own clients to get qualified if you guys do identify a really good deal on a rental. Everyone wants a good deal. They want, a nice place with a good value because you're renting, you're not necessarily owning, right? So when you do find those good deals with, property's beautiful, it's a really good value, your client's not going to be the only one applying for that great deal, right? And unlike apartments where it's first come, first serve, you pay your app and admin and it's locked down and it's yours and it's off the market. Rental houses, especially, private rental houses, when landlords decide the rules, not management companies, because someone owns the house, it doesn't work that way, right? Most often they're going to take several applications, and even if everyone is perfectly qualified, great income, great credit, no background history, let's say there's 3 applicants, so I can put this into perspective. 3 applicants greatly qualified, right? 2 of them are going to get denied because they can only approve 1 applicant. So that's really frustrating as a real estate agent when you have a very qualified client Let's say it's a couple, they make 10 grand a month, no background issues, 800 credit score, and they want a rental home, and you do all this work and you help find them one, right? And then they just get denied and they don't get the rental house, not because they're not qualified, but because the other applicant had made 12,000 a month instead of 10,000 a month and had an 810 credit score and one less dog, and so then they get approved while your client gets denied. And I don't like having to deal with uncertainty, so that's why I don't really like helping people find rental homes, right? I also explain this to my clients, and they agree. They're like, we don't want to compete against people. We just want to lock something down so they can plan to meet their deadlines on their move out date. So rental homes, like, unless you're unbelievably qualified and you make the deal unbelievably sweet, it's just like a nightmare as a real estate agent to help someone with a rental home. All right, on top of that, the deposits on a rental home on standard is 1 month, full month rent as a deposit that's refundable. Sometimes it's even 2 months rent. All right, standard's 1 month rent, like upfront. Sometimes it's 2 months rent. So if the rent is $3,000 a month for a nice 3-bedroom house in a nice area, their refundable deposit is $3 to $6 grand, right? Still way cheaper than a down payment if they were purchasing a home, but still a lot of money for a renter. So that sucks, right? And I tell my clients, like, hey, with an apartment, it's like $200 deposit, like out here in Texas and most other markets, right? So that's not good. So what I do is I like to switch that client and convert them into an apartment renter, right? That way I know I can make 50% commission on the low end, all the way up to 200% commission of the first month's rent. And they can actually lock down the unit. We're not competing against anyone, and it's great. So you're probably thinking, what should you say to the client, right? So I get a lead. Someone's like, I'm looking for a rental house. Can you help me find a rental house? So immediately I say yes. I say, yeah, I can definitely help you find a rental house. I'm a licensed real estate agent, and I can help in that area. However, most of my business, I tell my client this, I go, like 95% of my business is based around apartments. And here's why. With rental homes, and then you go over the reasons, right? The typical deposit is 1 to 2 months rent up front. That's a lot of deposit for a rental compared to a couple $100. And then they're like, wow, that's true. And then you tell them, like, also, you're competing against a couple other applicants because we're going to find a good deal, right? And then I explain to them, if someone has slightly better credit, they're going to get approved. You're not, even if you're qualified. And then they're going to go, man, that's going to be really annoying, right? So I tell them all of that. And then I say, and also typically, unless the house is brand new, which is way expensive, right? Unless the house is really brand new, you're going to pay a lot more on utilities for a giant rental house as opposed to an energy efficient Class A new apartment, right? So then you might have higher utilities as well if it's an old rental house that's large, right? Because it takes a lot of AC units to cool that thing down, as opposed to just 1,200 square feet in an apartment that just takes one AC unit. And if it's a brand new apartment, it's even more energy efficient. So I give all these people these reasons, and then they're like, oh, that sucks. Because it's true, I'm basically focusing on all the negatives to a rental homes, which are true. So as an alternative, I instead try to refer them over to a townhome apartment community with an attached garage, no one above or below you, that sort of thing, right? And what's cool is that in my city, I work Austin primarily, even though I worked all over. I mean, I worked in Boston, Nashville, Ohio, Denver, but mainly my market's Austin. So in Austin, like, there's not a ton of apartment communities that are townhome style that are Class A or Class B. So it's great because it's like a property list of like 6 options and I shoot them over. So it's not like there's many options, and it makes my job easier. So I send those over and I go, you should just check out these communities. You can lock it down right away. It's an apartment management, company. and way less deposits, less utilities, and it's the same feel as a house. It's a townhome a little bit bigger with an attached garage. So that's what I try to do, and I try to convert them over. It works like over half of the over 50% of the I was saying that that strategy works like over 50% of the time. So if you ever get renters and leads that they're looking for a rental home, always tell them you can help them, but then go over all the negatives and then give them an alternative. Like you could just lease a townhome apartment instead and get all the benefits. Another key point to make is that think about all the crazy horror stories you've ever heard about like a landlord. They're always on privately owned homes, right? Like the landlord not getting repairs done, etc., right? It could be a nightmare, right? You hardly ever hear about that stuff with large management companies that deal with multifamily apartments, right? Because they have a whole system and a staff. It's not like one owner that hopefully will get your repair done. So you can tell your clients that too, like, hey, more likely you're not going to run into any hiccups or issues with maintenance, simple maintenance that will happen throughout your year lease, because it's a real established management company, right? You're not dealing with, like, God forbid, a lazy landlord. You know what I mean? So the key point is to always tell someone yes, like never say no to clients, but explain to them the reasons why most of your business comes from apartment locating. It always works like half the time.